This video is going to cover a war known as the Higheast Rebellion, a war that took place 12 years after the events of Suikoden II. Needless to say, this video contains major spoilers for the events of Suikoden II, so if you haven't played Suikoden II yet, maybe give this video a miss. If you're still watching and you get spoiled, that's your own fault. So what is the Higheast Rebellion, where did it take place, what happened during this war, and who was involved? 12 years after the events of Suikoden II, in the solar year 472, a war was fought between the Dunan Republic and the Holy Kingdom of Harmonia, when the Harmonian Southern Frontier Army invaded the Higheast region of the Dunan Republic. This war became known as the Higheast Rebellion. But before we get into that, let's rewind a little bit first and give a very quick and condensed summary of the war in Suikoden II. In the solar year 460, in the lands of Dunan, a war was fought between the Highland Kingdom and the city-states of Joustin, when the Highland army, now under the command of Prince Luca, would break the fragile peace that held between the two nations and invaded the city-states, where he would quickly capture the Muse territories and throw the city-states into chaos, leading to its collapse. The remnants of the city-states would form the new state army to resist the Highland army's invasion. The new state army would eventually repel the Highland Kingdom, pushing them back into their own land before launching an attack of their own into the heart of Highland, capturing the capital of Lorenwi and putting an end to the Highland Kingdom. Following this war, the lands that made up the Highland Kingdom would be renamed to Higheast and be absorbed into the new state army's lands, and they would form the Dunan Republic. Tinto, however, would break away and form their own republic. A year after the establishment of the Dunan Republic, Teresa Wisemail, the acting mayor of Greenhill, would be elected as the nation's first president, and Shu, the new state army strategist, would resign from his position and return to his old life as a trader. So that was a very quick and condensed summary of the events of Suikoden II, which is known as the Dunan Unification War. Now onto the Higheast Rebellion. Details surrounding the Higheast Rebellion are scarce. In fact, almost nothing is known about the specifics or details of the war, and the information we do have about the actual war itself could be explained in about 30 seconds or so. So this video will be fluffed out by discussing the actions of characters involved in the war. 12 years after the Dunan Unification War, which is 11 years after the formation of the Dunan Republic, in the year 472, riots broke out in the province of Higheast, the territory formerly known as the Highland Kingdom, as Highland loyalists who were backed by Harmonia would rebel against the Dunan Republic. Taking advantage of the turmoil and unrest caused by the riots, General Sadram of Harmonia's southern frontier army would invade the Dunan Republic, leading his men into the province of Higheast to aid the Highland loyalists against the Dunan forces without the permission of the Harmonian government. 235 years ago, in the solar year 237, Morrow Blight ended a civil war in Harmonia, and as a reward for his service, he was granted the lands of Higheast to form the Highland Kingdom. It is unknown if General Sadram intended to re-establish the Highland Kingdom, or if he was simply using and taking advantage of the Highland loyalists so that he could reclaim the lands which once belonged to Harmonia before the foundation of the Highland Kingdom. It is unknown exactly what their role was in the war, but the mercenaries of the Harmonian Southern Frontier Defense Force participated during the Higheast Rebellion. Their role was presumably to help stir up the rebellion and the riots with the Highland loyalists. In response to the Harmonian invasion, Teresa Wisemail, the president of the Dunan Republic, would dispatch Boris Wiesen and Klaus Windermere to command the Dunan army and defend the country. It is speculated, but unconfirmed, that General Sadram was using a member of the Blight family as a figurehead to incite the Highland loyalists into revolting and to justify his invasion. Some people believe that Julia Blight was this figurehead. There are two reasons for that speculation. The first reason is because Julia Blight is the only known surviving member of the Blight family that we, the players, are aware of. However, Joey faked Julia's death by pretending to sacrifice her to the Beast Rune towards the end of Suikoden II, and then secretly sent her to Harmonia under a new name. As far as everyone in the Suikoden world is aware, Julia Blight is dead. It's possible that a Harmonian noble or perhaps General Sadram may have encountered and recognized Julia at some point during her time in Harmonia, and then forced her into being a figurehead for the rebellion and the Harmonian invasion. But in my opinion, it's more likely that there are relatives or offshoots of the Blight family with blood ties and distant claims to the throne from marriages throughout the Highland Kingdom's 223-year existence. There were 21 previous kings of Highland before Ageres, Luca, and Joey during the events of Suikoden II. Daughters and youngest sons of the Blight family with no chance of sitting on the throne throughout its existence would have been married to nobles within Harmonia to strengthen ties, and they would have been married to nobles in Highland to secure their loyalty. It's my personal belief that one of these unnamed relatives with a potential claim to the throne would have been used as a figurehead. The second reason people believe it's Julia is because of the ninja Watari. Watari was a member of the Kage clan, otherwise known as Darkwind, a mysterious group of ninjas who once served the Highland Kingdom. Following the fall of the Highland Kingdom, the Kage clan would shift their allegiance to the Dunan Republic, although when the Higheast Rebellion began, a small portion of the Kage would side with the Highland loyalists. One of the ninjas who sided with the Highland loyalists was Watari. During his time in Highland, Watari would grow loyal to an unnamed person within Highland and would even swear a promise to them. Ayame, a fellow member of the Kage clan, would lambast Watari for his loyalty to the Blight family, claiming that he is not a knight and that their kind have no need of loyalty. Because of this, people speculate that Julia Blight is the person that Watari grew loyal to and made a promise to. However, because of the complete lack of information surrounding the Higheast Rebellion, there is little to no evidence to back up this claim. As news of the war spread, veterans who fought in the Dunan Unification War between the New State Army and the Highland Kingdom would return to Dunan to aid the fledgling nation in its war against Harmonia. Upon hearing news of the war, both Flick and Victor, who were out of country at the time the war began, rushed to the Dunan Republic's aid in its defensive war against Harmonia. As the months went by, the war would drag on with neither side appearing to gain the upper hand. Following a battle between the Dunan Republic and the Harmonian Southern Frontier Army, Tuta, who was serving as the Dunan Republic's medical officer, would encounter a woman named Mio, who was tending to the wounded on the battlefield. Mio would ask Tuta to treat her husband's injuries. Tuta would attempt to treat him, but sadly without success, and Mio's husband would pass away. Despite Tuta's failure to save her husband, Mio was impressed not only by Tuta's medical knowledge, but also by his passion for helping those in need, and would assist Tuta as his nurse for the remainder of the war. As the conflict dragged on, with the two sides still locked in a stalemate, Shu, the former strategist of the New State Army, fearing that this conflict could become a protracted war, would come out of retirement and come to the aid of the Dunan Republic. Shu would devise a plan to stir up internal conflict within the politically fragmented Harmonian government. Despite its name, Harmonia is anything but harmonious. The Temple faction supports High Priest Hikusaka and the priesthood, while the People's faction aims to strike a balance between the priesthood holding power and giving power to the people. The Howling Vice Guild are known to be used to assassinate aristocrats within Harmonia, while also having goals and motives of their own, while the citizens of Harmonia are split into first, second and third class citizens, creating a very disunited nation. The details of Shu's plan and what exactly he done are unknown, but his plan was successful, and with the prospect of internal conflict brewing within Harmonia, the Harmonian government, realizing the costs of a prolonged war with the Dunan Republic over the Higheast region, would send messengers to General Sadram, ordering him to withdraw immediately and admonishing him for acting without orders. With the retreat of the Harmonian forces, the Dunan Republic easily dealt with the remaining Highland loyalists, and the war would finally come to an end after 6 months, with a victory for the Dunan Republic and all of its territories intact. Following the war, Watari abandoned the Kage clan due to a promise he made to the unknown person he grew loyal to in Highland. Watari would then be marked for death by the Kage and would be pursued by Ayame. Mio would continue to accompany Tuta as his nurse as the two journeyed the land, visiting villages that lacked proper medical care, where she would study under his tutelage with the hopes of becoming a doctor herself. Shu would once again retire from military service and return to his life as a trader. Unfortunately, it's not the longest or most detailed war in the Suikoden world. As I mentioned earlier, the details of the Higheast Rebellion are scarce, and I don't think it's an event that Konami are going to delve into. It was really just to provide some backstory for Suikoden III. But I tried to fluff it out with known character details. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you on the next one.